It's a beautiful Monday morning in the city of Lagos, Southwest Nigeria. My name is Samuela Ogunshaki. Let's go straight to the front pages of the dailies, and I'm starting with Vanguard. Vanguard is leading with Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger pull out of ECOWAS. We are ready for negotiated solutions, that's according to ECOWAS Commission. Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger on suspension from ECOWAS, that's coming from presidency. It's a serious diplomatic meltdown. That's according to article. You can see that story on page 5. And here there's a picture showing a former governor of Ekiti State, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, chairman of Dangote Cement PLC, Aliko Dangote, Dangote Cement PLC's new shareholder, Femi Otedola, former minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Otumba Niyi Adebayo, Group Executive Director, Commercial, Dangote Industries Limited, Fatima Aliko Dangote, with some directors and distributors at Dangote Cement PLC Distributors and World Night in Lagos. Now on page 20, first crisis, high import due to depress vehicle, other imports. Dealers lament poor sales. Bleak 2024 predicted as Naira sinks deeper. Situation could get worse, that's according to Muda Yusuf. And on sports, CAF picks Osimhen for random drug tests. If Tinubu misses this opportunity, Nigeria is gone. That's according to Pa Adebanjo. Stories above the banner on page 9. Federal government inaugurates minimum wage committee tomorrow. Corrupt governors responsible for insecurity, banditry in North. That's according to VP ShettimaM. Afenifere expresses worry over upsurge in kidnapping in Southwest and others. On page 9, insecurity, we are taking fights to criminals den. That's according to federal government. Now the Punch newspaper. Punch is leading with kidnapping epidemic, tracking device shortage, injuring police probes. That's according to sources. Death of tracking devices causes delay in investigations. Arrest of abductors, says investigators. You will see that on pages 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now on page 28, Naira, manufacturers plan general price hike. Osun Prince detained after US-based prof's murder. You can see that on pages 4 and 5. On page 7, 40 trillion naira local government allocations diverted by governance. That's according to Serap. Stories above the banner, IRS demand Ashimogo's tax returns after lavish birthday. Federal government appoints 6 governors to minimum wage panel. You can see that on page 7. And lastly, on page 8, Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger get to exit formally. That's according to ECOWAS. Now, the Guardian. Guardian, he's leading with a co-fallout. Trade security concerns as Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso exit ECOWAS. You can see that on page 6. On page 9, United States-based professor shot dead in Osun after party. Mob kills gunman. Beware, COVID infections, fatality still on prowl. NRC announces return of Kano Lagos train service. Petrol trading lifts NNPC's profit to $2.7 billion. Saudi Aramco declares $161 billion. You can see that on page 6. And lastly, on the Guardian, on page 3, account for over 40 trillion naira allocations to FCT councils. Serap tells me. You can see that on page 3. And that's all we have on the front page of the Guardian and the front pages of the dailies this morning. Join us after the break for the analysis. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Today in the News on Vanguard Live. My name is Samuela Ogunshaki. Joining us to analyze the front pages of the dailies this morning is Mr. Ali Mohammed. He is the CEO of Magnet Communications, former editor of Daily Times and Concord newspaper. Good morning, Mr.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine. Let's go straight to the stories, and we're starting with the story of ECOWAS. Now, the military regimes in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger yesterday announced their immediate withdrawal from economic community of West African states, that's ECOWAS, saying that it had become a threat to member states. And ECOWAS replied by saying that that they were not they were technically not members of ECOWAS since they are currently on suspension. What's your take on this?
Thank you, Daniela. I think their pulling out of ECOWAS is a reaction to their suspension. The issue of these 3 countries from the onset has been mismanaged by the ECOWAS leaders. You don't have to suspend a country where you've had a military takeover. You can negotiate with these people and come to a compromise. It's not total expulsion. I was expecting this kind of reaction from these three countries, and so I'm not surprised that it has happened at last. You see, each country had this independence to run without any interruption or intervention from any country. They are independent countries. A coup has taken place. Yes, it has taken place. If it is the wish of the people for the military government to stay, so be it. The ECOWAS regional leaders can now come in and negotiate with these coup leaders, negotiate an exit time for them, not that you totally suspend them. Coming out with suspension is a show of hostility. Each country had the independence to be run the way they like. All these shouts of democracy all over Africa is all false. And I'm saying it again, it is all false. If you look at the so-called democratic countries in Africa, are they truly democratic? They are being run by cabals. You've seen a president in Africa running for 3-4 terms. What has ECOWAS done to that? You had a coup in a country where things were not stable. The civilian government there, the leaders were stealing the country's money, saving them abroad. And the people felt relieved by having a military government. In that situation, you don't come in to send that military government out, or say the military government should go out. You don't want coup, this and that. If coup is the way of correcting the inanities in that country, so be it. In those countries, the people of these countries came out rejoicing when they had this coup. But ECOWAS came in and said, no, we are suspending you. And they are saying they are taking their own fate in their hands. And they are leaving ECOWAS for good. Like I said, ECOWAS leaders made the mistake of confronting them. You could negotiate their exit. When we had the Abubakar's government, during the Abacha's government, when Abacha died and Abubakar came in, Abubakar himself knew that his stay in government must be short. Otherwise, there will be a counter coup. That was why the man exited governance within 9 months. He didn't spend more than 9 months. He handed over to a civilian government. That was a sensible and sensitive leader. I wouldn't blame the 3 countries for pulling out of ECOWAS. They even believe that it is better for them to associate with their colonialists, France and other power blocks in the world, than to associate with ECOWAS. In Togo, is it Togo now? One of the countries, I think the economy there is picking up. Most of the countries where these soldiers are, from the reports we are getting, they are doing very well. So what are we talking about? They are all independent countries. If the people say they want military, so be it. You can't force them into a civilian government. And once you have a coup, you negotiate with the coupists, negotiate their exit, and peacefully allow them to exit at the agreed time. Not that you just come out with a bang as if you are the one running that country and say you are banned or you are suspended from ECOWAS. So I blame the ECOWAS leaders for what has happened.
All right, let's move away from that and talk about the insecurity in the country. So, Vice President Kashim Shettima said this weekend that corrupt governance was responsible for the crisis of insecurity and banditry in the north. What do you think about what the Vice
Speaking
President
the truth, in recent times we have seen soldiers and some other security agents who have been arrested for being part of Boko Haram and bandits that are killing people all over the country. It is unfortunate that we have this kind of situation. In Yoruba land, there is this proverb that says the ant eating the leaf lives inside within the body of the leaf. Kòkòrò tó ń gbẹ̀fọ́ ara ẹ̀fọ́ ló ń gbé. And that is the truth. If you have people that have been paid to check banditry and they are the ones aiding and abetting kidnapping and banditry, it is unfortunate. Let me ask you a question. We have kidnappers all over the place. How do they collect ransom without these security agents knowing? How do they I mean, all these things are quite impossible without the collaboration of some security agents. Somebody has been kidnapped and you say you are looking into it, and the same set of people are pressuring the family to bring ransom, and they are supposed to be working with that family to get those who have been kidnapped released, and yet these kidnappers successfully got paid whatever they demanded for. So how is this possible? I don't think collection of ransom will be possible without the connivance of some bad eggs in the security agencies.
So if we are sure that corrupt governance and there are bad eggs in security, so how do we tackle them? Because it seems they are aware of the
first and foremost, this battle against kidnapping and banditry has become a commercial venture. Once it ends, some people will stop gaining from it. A lot of people, I don't want to start mentioning names, a lot of people are benefiting from what is going on. Look at the chairman of PDP that was kidnapped on Lagos Ibadan Expressway this weekend on Friday. As at yesterday, he has been released. They demanded for 200 million ransom. That ransom was successfully paid and collected by some people. How come our security agents didn't know all these processes? They can't claim ignorance of what happened. They assured us that they were working on the release of these people. Yet ransom was paid without the knowledge of the security agencies. Without the knowledge of the security agents, then that means something is happening in between the so-called battle to rescue the people, the PDP chairman and those that were kidnapped, and the people that the kidnappers were calling for ransom. The first thing that should be established when the chairman of PDP was kidnapped, the case was reported to the police. They are supposed to be working with the family of the kidnappers. If they say they want 200 million ransom, the family will go ahead and tell the police. If you truly want us to check the trend of kidnapping and banditry in the country, the security agents must live up to their duties, truly live up to their duties. Today, I give them less than 25 over 100. They are doing nothing. It is the family of those who have been kidnapped that are always under pressure, because you don't want to lose your precious family member that has been kidnapped. If they say they want 200 million, you start negotiating from 200 million to 20-50 million. They agree, and the money is taken to them. How come the security agents don't know about the payment of this ransom.
Mr. Aliyu, now there are strong indications that they said a shortage of tracking equipment is hindering police investigation into kidnapping incidents in the country. Now, according to them, they say that they rely on the state-of-the-art tracking device that's belonging to the Department of State Service, resulting in long delays in investigation and also arrest of abductors.
See, all the phones that are produced today have GPS. Even if you put it off, the phone can still be tracked. If you're really serious that you want to track every phone in Nigeria today, you will do the tracking within 24 hours. So all these excuses that only the DSS, I've had all those before. Even ordinary citizens, if you have any security issue, maybe your phone is stolen or somebody stole your money and you go to the police that this happened, they will ask you to pay for tracking 100,000 or more. You must pay for tracking. Why are we at the level of payment for everything that is done free in other parts of the world? Somebody whose money has been stolen, maybe to almost zero, and that person has come to the police to say, my money has been stolen by so person. You even know the person, you have his number, you've given the police his number, you will have to pay for tracking. And the excuse, I've had that excuse before, that it is only the DSS that have. Why must it be only the DSS that has the ability to track phone numbers? In a country as big as Nigeria, the police should be able to have access to tracking equipment. Nigerian Army should be able to have access to tracking equipment. People use drones to even drop arms and ammunition in strategic areas all over the world. Why are we different?
But now the first PRO, that's Olumiwa, he has advised families of victims to go to private companies for tracking. He said that when they are done, they should bring the result to them and they will now do.
For somebody who has been kidnapped, you have to go to private organizations for tracking. It doesn't make sense. God forbid, then, if you put yourself in the position of somebody whose person, either husband or wife, has been kidnapped, will you have the patience to be taking phone numbers to any company? When people are saying that these kidnappers are telling you that within 24 hours, you must bring 20 million, you know how disorganized you will be. When somebody calls you and say, look, and you hear the screaming, the shouting of your relation that has been kidnapped, it will disorganize your brain. And you prefer to even give the money than to start running from one docile agency, private company to another. You are wasting time because the kidnappers, all they want is money, and within a short time too, they want to get done with that business, they release that person and go to another person. If you don't give that money, whoever is kidnapped could get killed. This is I don't know why we keep hearing this kind of story from the police. It is inhuman that statement could come from the police high command in Nigeria. What is wrong with them having tracking equipment? There is nothing. I am surprised. Are you sure that statement is not this first police PRO? I doubt it. It is an embarrassment that in Nigeria today, the Nigerian police don't have tracking equipment. It's a big embarrassment to the government.
All right, let's move away from that. Amidst sustained depreciation of the naira, Nigeria's motor vehicle imports recorded a massive 32% decline in 2023, with total import through the Nigerian port at 132,293 units from 194,550 recorded in 2022. Now, what's your take on this?
See, a car that was 2.5 million 2 years ago is now 7 million, 10 million now. So, where is the money to buy new cars? A lot of I normally will change my car every 2 years. The one I use now is 5 years old. I have not been able to change it. Also, it is because of the terrible rise in the exchange rate. Tell me what if you must buy a car now, you must have not less, a good car, strong car, you must have not less than 5, 6, 7 million naira. Toyota Corolla, one of the cheapest cars in those days, now goes for 3, 4, 5 million. Toyota Corolla.
Wow.
Tokumbo, yes, not brand new. The first Corolla Tokumbo that I bought as a young man was 1,200 naira. Tokumbo. That was in the 80s, 1987. You can see the difference between what we used to have then and what is going on now. There is a lot of trouble in the land. We are talking about cars. What about food? It is the man that is not hungry, that is filled, that has enough to eat, that will be thinking of buying cars. These days, people are struggling to eat. A bag of rice is 65,000. So how many families can afford to buy a bag of rice for 65,000? A bag of beans is over 70,000. How many families can afford to buy rice and beans at the same time for that humongous amount of money? Not to talk about cars. You see, the high exchange rate is affecting businesses. Companies are shutting down. Those that are not shutting down are producing at less than 50% capacity. It is unfortunate. The government should take a very strong step to ensure the stability of the naira against dollar. Pound sterling now goes for almost almost 200 per dollar to naira. So I don't understand what is going on. It is disturbing. It is worrisome. Almost all private companies, most farms that relies on importation of whole chicken, you rely on importation of feed and its components. Almost all those farms are shutting down. In those days, we used to have foreign day-old chicks. It is difficult to get them into the country these days. Day-old chicks that you buy and raise to become chicken. It is terrible. So the government must look, and unfortunately, the only product that we export that earns dollar for the country is petroleum. All other things that we export, we can no longer export them. How did we get to this stage? Government must encourage exports in one ways. Today, if you want to export anything, you have to contend with the custom, you have to contend with immigration, you have to contend with if it is food. There is this other arm that is always at the airport, and I will tell you that whatever you are taking abroad is illegal. And so you get frustrated about embarking on the exportation of anything from Nigeria. It is not encouraging. You know the number of federal government agencies that stands at the airport to check what you want to export. If it is something that is perishable, they will all be perished before they leave the shores of Nigeria. And you are incurring a loss. Will you put your money on such a thing again? Certainly no. That is what people are going through. I have a friend who exports dried fish, smoked fish. She did about 3 containers of that fish for export. Before they could get out of Nigeria, more than 1.5 container got spoiled. And you can see the losses that she has incurred. Will she go back to that again tomorrow? She won't. But they are making all these people at the ports, customs, immigration. There is this I've forgotten their name now, supervised food and all that. NAFDAC is there. All of them are there. If you are going to inspect, let your inspection not be more than 24 hours on each container that is going out of the country. But it will take 2 weeks for these agencies to inspect, and within those 2 weeks, if you have perishable things, they would have perished before they get abroad, and we are enduring a loss. This is what scares people from exporting things out of Nigeria, and it is affecting the rate at which we make dollars that comes into Nigeria. So we have to sit down as a government and decide what we want for our country. Whether we want to be a single product economy, export economy, I don't know. But it is unfortunate that this is happening in a country where we have signed agreements with other countries for the ease of exportation and importation.
All right, so let's end this on a lighter note this morning with Mr. and Mrs. And the first person speaking this morning is Mr. Mr. says, I've done my best in this relationship. Go and check. Our Mrs. says, well, let's look at the stats. Accurate passes, 46. Passes, other women, 1,000. Shots on goal, 500 shots. Other women, 700. Possession home, 90%. Possession away, 20%. Now, offsides, 1,000. Goals, 3 boys and 2 girls.
She has won. Mrs. has won. Mrs. has won.
And she
let's give that to her. Let's give that to her.
Mr. Leo, I really need to ask you, what do you think about Super Eagles' performance so far?
So far, we thank God for their performance. I am impressed. So far, I was not expecting them to even get to the stage they are now. But we thank God that they have performed well so far. We had moments of anxiety.
Yes, we did.
But we thank God they have performed so well in spite of all these anxieties that we had. I wish them success in the ongoing game.
Yes, and Nigeria, the Super Eagles now will be playing Angola. Yes. And we know that Nigerians are looking forward to that. Because it's AFCON and Cameroon. I think I really don't want to say any other really did somebody comment online.
We bet with Cameroon.
So people were like, go back and start, go back to the Lions.
The Eagle destroyed the Lions.
With the leg of the Thank you, Mr. Ali, for joining us this morning.
You're most welcome.
And this is what we have to do. The curtain. My name is Daniela Ogunshaki. Do want to like and follow us on all our social media platforms showing on your screen, and our website www.vanguardngl.com. Have a lovely Monday.